Hi, everyone, and welcome to Snacks with an Expert. I'm Chris Duhame, owner and founder of Spark Offices here in Manchester. We offer an innovative co-working space designed to bring small businesses together to exchange ideas, to network, and to grow their businesses. We're based in the Mills, a unique industrial space, which helps prompt creativity, working together, and really just a great opportunity for businesses to find a flexible, affordable office space. And today we're proud to be the sponsor of this week's Snacks with an Expert, which is with Donna Sovie, who is the owner and CEO of Checks and Balance Business Solutions in Derry, New Hampshire. She has 22 years of experience in the construction, wholesale, distribution, and service industries, combined with education that has provided her with detailed knowledge of the accounting and operations process. Today, Donna will be navigating the many areas of accounting that your business can go through. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Donna Sovie, and she's going to be our Snacks with an Expert today. Thanks, Donna.
Well, thank you very much. As Chris said, my name is Donna Sovie. I am the CEO and founder of Check and Balance Business Solutions. We are an accounting services firm based out of Derry, New Hampshire. We operate virtually, so we can help people literally anywhere across the country. And we offer everything from your basic bookkeeping all the way up to your fractional CFO work, as well as payroll services and education services through workshops like these. And then we also have a course that's going to be launched in April with more to come later in the year. So with that being said, let's get started with our presentation. Share my screen. There we go. And I just need to hide everybody. There we go. All right, so today we are going to be talking about knowing your numbers. It's an introduction to business accounting and what you should know in terms of getting your small business started or getting your small business on track in terms of your accounting processes, procedures, and then how to really know what you're doing inside of your business as it relates to the accounting. Fun little quote. Every problem is a gift. Without problems, we would not grow. Very true. We all grow from learning from our past. So today's topics, we will talk about how to choose and start an accounting software, setting up your chart of accounts, how to properly record sales and expenses, and then linking your accounts for easier transaction matching. So a little bit about myself. I, again, am the founder and CEO of Check and Balance Business Solutions, and I started this business with the goal of helping small business owners reach their next level by helping the business continue to be profitable and remain compliant while allowing owners to focus on company growth and doting on their passions. A little bit about my background. I started in 1999. I was a receptionist at a concrete cutting company in Waltham, Massachusetts. And about 6 months into my position there, they needed somebody to help in accounts payable. And so I raised my hand and said, I am willing to learn if you're willing to teach me. And I kind of took off from there. I adapted very well and understood accounting extremely well right from the beginning. And so I knew that it was something that I would not only be able to continue to grow in as a career, but also I liked doing it, which is, you know, so many little people don't get the opportunity to work in a field that they like. So it was great to have both of those things. 2005, I moved on to be the assistant controller for a wholesale distributor of sports memorabilia. I worked with them for almost 6 years, right alongside the controller and the VP of finance for that company. Continued to learn hands-on, on the job, trial by fire type of process. Just learning and absorbing as much as I could. Continued to grow in various roles in construction through 2008. And then finally in 2013, when I was promoted to corporate controller, I was in the midst of getting my bachelor's degree. So I had just gone back to get my bachelor's degree in 2010-ish. And so while I was doing that, I was promoted in my current role with a general contractor in Lowell, Mass. And then continued to work on my bachelor's degree while I was there, and then also obtained my master's degree while I was still there. And so I do hold both my bachelor's and my master's in accounting. And then in 2020, at the end of 2019, I decided to leave the corporate world and go out on my own. And so in 2020, I started the business and set out to fulfill the dream that I had had 10 years prior in starting my own accounting firm to offer services to everyone. So a little bit about knowing where your money is going and how money is being spent is very important in knowing in your business. And so these are just a few of the things that you may be spending your money on in your business. And I'm sure that you have things that aren't on this list, but maybe are, in addition to. And so it's just an example of what you might be doing in your business and where your money is going. And so we're going to talk about how you record those things and how to keep track of all of them so you can have a true understanding of the profit or loss in your business. So you've started your own business. Who does your bookkeeping for you? And so whether you have an accountant on staff or you do your own bookkeeping or you outsource to a business like ours, investing in accounting software should be the very first step. I know that some people use Excel to keep track of things in the very beginning, which is phenomenal. If you're tracking it, regardless of how you're doing it, as long as you have proper records of everything that your business has done, then you're in good shape, and that can always be entered into accounting software once you're ready to purchase. The great things about accounting software is that it helps to prevent errors in the data that you're storing for your tax return and for any financial statements that you may need to produce for things like capital loans or investors, if you're looking to have investors buy into your company. And then most accounting software integrates with your bank account, which means less manual work for you. You can just hook that up and it will automatically download those transactions for you for easier matching to your expenses and income. The programs also make it easy to back up your data in case of an emergency. So you always have a copy of your records and you don't have to worry about if something disastrous goes down, you will have a copy of something. Excel does not automatically back up. So unless you're already backing up to another source for the Excel, if it's gone, it's gone. So you always want to make sure that you have something that can back up. It also allows you to record the transactions through the entry of a bill to be paid or an invoice to a customer, and these will automatically transfer the information to the general ledger, which then is used to create your financial statements. And the software handles all of the calculations for you in that process to put them into the correct buckets. Buckets meaning all of your different expense accounts or revenue accounts, assets and liabilities. So how do I choose the right accounting software? Things you should consider are the general functionality. It should be easy to use. It should have all the right modules that you need for your business, meaning the payables system, whether you can pay bills, track expenses, make those expenses billable to clients, things like that. Should also be able to help with your receivables, have a receivables function, which means getting your invoicing out to your customers, payment application to those invoices when payment is received by the customers, and then applying those receivables to your ledger. And then also banking. So keeping track of everything that happens in your bank accounts and or credit card accounts to make sure that you're tracking, again, everything that is happening in your business through your business accounts. It should also have industry-specific functionality. There are a lot of softwares out there that are industry-specific, and then there are more generic versions that can be formed to be more industry-specific to your business. So you can buy stuff that can be customized to your industry to make sure that your accounting process is unique to your line of business. And some of those could be like a point of sale integration for retail or e-commerce, or project job costing software for construction. So cloud or desktop, which is better? So it all depends on what you're doing. So cloud-based is wonderful in the sense that you can literally access it from anywhere. You can usually access it from even your cell phone or from any laptop or any computer. When you have a desktop version, usually in order to be able to share that desktop software that's installed with other people, you would have to house the files in a cloud server where you would all be able to access it. So you're kind of incorporating the cloud with that if you have more than one person that needs to access the financial data. If you don't, then a desktop version might be suitable enough for you. The banking compatibility, is it compatible to connect to your banking institution? A lot of software systems are, whether they are cloud or desktop. And again, the great thing about that is it brings in the real data from the bank that actually happened and helps you in that reconciliation process to be more smooth and easy come month end. User security options. Does it offer third-party authentication? Is it encrypted? Does it provide certain safeguards to ensure that hacking and data loss or breach are very unlikely to occur? And then the ease of use. It needs to be user-friendly so you can understand how you're entering in your transactions and how you're recording all of your accounting information. And if it's not easy to use, obviously it makes it more difficult for you to have accurate records. So it should be very user-friendly as well. So some examples of accounting software for small businesses. The best for any business and the one that offers the most in terms of being able to customize and give more robust reporting and better details and various options for project tracking or cost accounting or point of sale and things like that is QuickBooks Online. They are the biggest in the industry. They've been around for a very long time and they have the process down. Xero is another good option. They offer a free version for very beginning businesses where you're just getting started, and obviously capital is probably at a minimum. So if you're looking for the best way to maximize your options, having Xero is great in the very beginning as that free option. And then as you grow, you can always upgrade inside of that. And then FreshBooks is another great one for service-based businesses that do not have a lot of moving pieces to them. If you're a coach or a personal trainer or some other type of consultant that doesn't offer an actual product, it's great for those types of businesses where it's just service related. And then for part-time freelancers, the QuickBooks Self-Employed version is a great option. It is the cheapest of the QuickBooks offerings. It is a basic income and expense tracker. It does not do a lot of what the other QuickBooks platforms can do. But if all you're looking to do is separate business from personal and make sure that you're tracking how much money came in and how much money went out, and that's all you care about, it's great for that, especially if you're just a freelancer and not an LLC operating as such. So if you prefer to hire an accounting service for your business, instituting the use of a given software program will ensure that the accountant has all of the historical data they need to manage your books, payroll, and your taxes. And when you're outsourcing this service for your business, you will need to have some form of software in place in order to have those accountants work with you. Most accountants will not work based off of just keeping an Excel file going because it's not secure. It doesn't provide any kind of safeguards. And it also does not have what's called an audit trail in the background that shows you who did what in the system. Everything in the audit trail is linked to that specific user's account, and all accounting softwares have that function in them. And then again, with the cloud or the desktop, either one would need to be shared with that person in handling the books so they could process the data for you. So onto the chart of accounts. So the chart of accounts is the dashboard of your financial statements. And the chart of accounts for every business contains the same categories of information, which are assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, and expense. How the chart of accounts is organized and how the information is detailed can be customized to the size and type of business you have. So you can literally name these accounts what you want them to be named, whether, if you sell, say you sell socks, you want to have a line for your revenue that says socks, and that's your revenue line. It's going to be classified as a revenue category, but the name of it could be socks, and that makes sense to you. And you can totally customize that list however you see fit that makes the most sense for your business, so you can easily understand where your money is coming in from, which lines of business, and then also where your money is going out for all of your overhead expenses or direct related costs to the services or products that you're providing. So the list of names, descriptions, account types, groups, subgroups, all of that coded information will determine the financial statement information and where it can be found. So your assets and your liabilities and your equity will be found on your balance sheet. And then your revenue and expenses will be found on your profit and loss. So in the chart of accounts, a little bit more in detail about those categories. Your assets are all of the items that your business owns. That includes your bank accounts, your accounts receivable, balances for customer accounts that are still due, any buildings and equipment that you own, and things like that. And then your liabilities are any outstanding loans, payroll taxes due, bills that you owe to vendors, credit card balances that are due, things like that. Your equity section is your own owners or shareholders' stake in the business. So it lists the initial investment of the owner or the shareholder. It lists the dividends paid or the owner's draws taken. It lists the prior year's retained earnings, which is part of, which is the number at the end of the year that comes off the profit and loss statement for whether it was a net profit or loss. That number gets transferred to the equity of the business. And it basically shows what the owner's stake is in the business. Should they sell or close the business, it would tell you exactly how much they would be able to walk away with. So the revenue are the sales of product or services the business has provided to its customers. And then expenses are either your cost of goods sold, which are the direct expenses related to the product or services. And then also your operating expenses, which are also referred to as overhead expenses. And those things are like, you know, the paper and pens that you buy for your office supplies, or your electric bill, or your water bill, or your rent for your office space, things like that. So it is your business to be involved as a business owner. You really need to have input into your business accounting and chart of accounts and what it looks like and how it is built, so you understand what you're looking at when you're reading your reports. So when you play a role in designing your company's chart of accounts, the creation and implementation of that chart of accounts will be crucial to you understanding what happens and when transactions are recorded. And so just a couple of pro tips for your chart of accounts. When you design the chart of accounts, that contains account descriptions that help indicate which transactions flow in and out of that said account. Again, helps you understand where your money is going and coming from. Using account numbers to label those accounts will help organize the list and put those into the groups that they belong. And typical account numbering follows across all accounting is your 1000s are your assets, your 2000s are your liabilities, your 3000s are your equity, 4000s are your revenue, 5000s are your cost of goods sold, and then 6000s are your other expenses, operating expenses or overhead expenses. And then you do get into 7s and 8s, and that's usually for other income, other expenses, or your other tax line items, things that need to be omitted before or after tax. And then avoid using your vendor or customer names as account titles. That's something you don't want to do. If you ever want to see what a vendor or customer is doing in terms of related business line items, you would then just run a report out of your accounting system that specifies what customers or vendors those transactions related to and where they are going to on your financial reports in terms of those general ledger accounts. So transactions, how to properly record the expenses. What is a transaction? So if you've ever paid a bill, or if you ever sent an invoice to a customer or received payment for a service you provided, these are all considered transactions. Transactions equal money in or money out. And some examples of accounting transactions are paying a debt, which is money out, making a sale, which is money in, buying supplies, again, money out, and then borrowing money, money in. So a transaction has happened. Now what do I do? So once a transaction has taken place, whether it's money in or money out, it must be labeled, processed, and recorded in your accounting software. This is done in 3 stages and is referred to as the accounting cycle. So stage 1 is to analyze an event. An example of this stage is if a customer pays for services, you will need to know the exact amount of the payment, the date the payment was deposited to the bank account, and what invoice or service this payment was for. And then you would apply that payment accordingly to that invoice or outstanding item. If you have sales receipts instead, you want to make sure that you match that payment properly to those items for proper posting to your bank ledger as well as your general ledger. So stage 2 would be processing the data. Once you have information on where the payment came from and what invoice or service it's paying for, you need to record the receipt of the payment transaction to maintain accurate books. These transactions can be recorded and maintained in various ways, but I strongly recommend using reliable accounting software. Again, it houses the information for you, automates a lot of these processes, and once it's recorded correctly, you don't have to worry about those transactions any further or keeping track of them because they are housed in your accounting software. So stage 3 would be to communicate that information. So once all of your transactions have been recorded and reconciled for an accounting period, you would need to be able to communicate what happened during the month and where the business stands financially. This is done through your balance sheet and income statement reports, and it is even more important to know how to read the information they provide in order to know how the business is doing. So some pro tips are to record your transactions weekly, send your invoices immediately upon completing the work for your customers, make your clients stick to payment deadlines, use reliable accounting software, and only post or record if money is exchanged. So moving on to sales and creating invoices, recurring sales, and automatic payments. What should you put on an invoice? So you obviously want to have your contact information for your company. You want to have the contact information for the client, so it clearly states who the invoice is going to and who it's coming from. You want to detail the list of goods sold, goods or services sold. You want to itemize them and total the costs. You want to include your dates, which include your date of sale, the invoice date, shipment date, due dates, etc., and then also clearly state your payment terms. So what do we want? We want recurring sales. So recurring revenue is the portion of a company's revenue that is expected to continue in the future. Unlike one-off sales, these revenues are predictable, stable, expected to continue, and occurring with regularity. So examples of recurring sales are your subscriptions, whether physical product or service, online memberships, renting out space or equipment, a renewal program or membership program of some type, and then educational courses that are ongoing. So an example of recurring revenue, here's Jill's story. Jill is a licensed esthetician who became a salon owner. She figured that being her own boss would instantly create revenue. She employed 2 hairstylists and a nail technician as paid employees on W-2s. For the first 6 months, Jill struggled to keep up with managing their schedules, including covering their shifts, payroll, cleaning and maintenance, and her own clients. Once she switched to renting her rooms and booths instead, she collected recurring income and the renters took charge of their own clients' schedules and taxes. So this bettered her position in determining what her actual sales or that revenue line item was going to be for her coming in, which then helped her pay her own rent and mortgage and overhead, things like her electricity, water, and the like. It was predictable, so she knew what she was going to be getting every month because she would charge them a flat amount for their rent each month. And she could set that up to automatically record in her accounting system. And then they could make those payments every month to her through the accounting system as well. If they did pay her directly, she would then go in and record it as a payment against that recurring invoice. So speaking of payments, when you offer automated payments, it happens, automatically is basically the gist of it. So you set it up once and you don't have to think about it again. And this is great because if you have those recurring items, such as in Jill's story, or you offer a service that recurs month over month over month to a customer, when you set them up for automatic payments, you don't have to worry about whether or not the bill is past due or hounding them to pay their invoices or having to keep track of it yourself and remembering to send the reminders as well. So what types of automated payments can your business offer? So again, subscriptions, recurring invoices, rental payments, memberships, monthly service plans, ongoing coaching sessions, really anything that happens over and over again. And it doesn't have to be monthly. It could be quarterly, could be annually, could be weekly. It all depends on how you set it up in your system and how your business operates. So the advantages to offering automated payments are the consistency of income, ease for customers, because they don't have to remember to pay you and you don't have to remember to remind them to pay you. It avoids late payments, and then it's also environmentally friendly because nobody is mailing anything, there's no checks that need to be cut, and nobody has to drive over to the bank to make deposits. So banking, linking your accounts for easier transaction matching. This is a great part of a lot of accounting softwares. After you connect your bank and your credit card accounts to your accounting software, it automatically downloads the latest transactions. So it looks for and tries to match them with the transactions that you've already entered into it. So as you are creating those invoices for your customers, they are making payments against those invoices, whether they go into your system and pay through that invoice that you've sent them, or if you receive it and apply it yourself. If you're applying that payment yourself, eventually that has to come through the bank as a cleared item. So when it comes through the bank through that transaction download, the system will most likely find that transaction for you and say, hey, we think this is right. This is where this needs to be matched to. And you can tell it, yes, go ahead and match that. And if it's not correct, which sometimes that happens, you would just click on that transaction and open up and see what other transactions that you've already entered match that banking transaction that you're trying to get posted to your registers. And then other ways that it helps too is just, again, automating some of that process for you, so you don't have to go in and do every little detail yourself. It's handling, making sure that all of your items have been received and marked as either paid or received. So linking your accounts, your key takeaways are that the funds can easily be transferred electronically between them. You can link your checking, savings, and credit card accounts. And you can download your bank and credit card transactions, and they are put into the correct buckets, those accounts on your chart of accounts. So that wraps up our session on the details. Some of the services that we offer are the daily transaction entry for accounts payable and receivable, your billings to clients and collections that are involved with those, payment processing to your vendors, cash receipt application, credit card and bank statement reconciliations. And these are the very basic things that we do. We do a lot more and have a much more expansive offering. And if you'd like to talk to us about that, you're more than welcome to reach out, and we would love to set up a consultation. I would like to thank everybody for attending, and we can do some Q&A as well if anybody has any questions.
I have a question. Donna, do you have a preference as to what platform you prefer to use over the 4 that you had suggested earlier?
Yeah, the best for all around is QuickBooks, because they've been around for so long. They've worked out a lot of the kinks, but they've also included a lot of the more expansive options in terms of tracking your accounting and being able to customize specifically to what you need it to be or want it to be, including reports. Their reporting feature out of all 4 of those is the best. They have far more reports than the other softwares do, and you can also customize those reports. And the great part about that as well is people that create reports can share it in a community. So if there's a report that you're trying to build yourself, you can always search for it first. Somebody might have already built it for you, and you can just download it to your side and use it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding like the desktop version versus the online version for QuickBooks.
Mhm.
Could you maybe tell us some of the differences between the 2 of those, or like which ones you prefer, not prefer, just some more information about that in general?
Yeah, sure. So, so the desktop version is obviously the one that's been around the longest. And so there is more functionality in the desktop version that is good for certain types of trade businesses. And then also for a lot of e-commerce too. So the more moving parts you have in your business, the better desktop is. They are working to improve QuickBooks Online to incorporate a lot of those things that desktop has that it does not yet offer, but it's only available in their highest end product right now, which is the advanced version, which most small companies don't need. The thing I love the most about QuickBooks Online is, again, you can literally access it from anywhere. It's an affordable, much more affordable than the desktop version is. And they are actually starting to move away from the one-time purchase of the desktop software, which you used to be able to buy a copy, have it for 3 or 4 years and not have to worry about upgrading. They're now forcing people to upgrade every year, and they're slowly working them into a monthly subscription instead of paying for the whole year service as well. So it's basically dependent on what your business does and how big it is. So once you get to a certain point, you do need a more robust software that can handle a lot more moving pieces.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, my question goes to the link that just got put in the chat. Could you tell us more about the course that you're offering?
Yeah, absolutely. So the course that we're offering is another Know Your Numbers. It's our theme. So it is basically a more expanded version on what we talked about today. It's a crash course in Accounting 1 for small business owners, and then people that do the books for small business owners. So we will go over in more detail transactions, chart of account building, how you actually read the balance sheet and the profit and loss statement, how to identify mistakes that may be entered wrong, and then how to correct those. And so along with that course that we're offering, it's not just the video download that you get to keep for life. You're also going to get a membership to a closed community group where you can talk to other small business owners, but then myself and my accounting staff will also chime in and answer any questions that you may have in the process. And we will have a live Ask Me Anything once a month. And then we also are including one-on-one coaching sessions with myself. So we will do like a CFO high-level accounting look at what you're trying to do in your business, and then answer any questions that you may have about, whether it's how to scale and grow or how to even start out. It all depends on what is unique to you and what you're looking to understand and know better about your accounting side of your business. And then there's going to be a bonus item in there. It's not listed on the packages yet, but it will be included. Will be an interactive workbook where you'll have some practice examples shown to you, and then you can kind of do some real life examples and have the answers right there, so you can know whether or not you did it right, and kind of test your knowledge as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You said there's a free account, but that's just like a trial, right? That's not like a
It's the most basic version. And if they've moved to just doing a trial, that's new, because up until a couple of weeks ago, when I met with a brand new client, they were on Xero. They still had a free platform, but it was very basic. It's kind of like the expense and income tracker for the self-employed version of QuickBooks Online.
Okay.
Wave is another one that has a free version that's exactly the same thing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Donna, I got a question. When does that class start?
So it's going to be offered in April. We are in the
Okay.
final stages right now of just tying up production and getting the final little things tweaked and going.
Okay.
I had a
Oh, good.
big marketing meeting on that earlier this week. So, so yes, we are going to be launching that in April. And so
Okay, great.
it's a self-guided, so to speak, type of thing. Where you
Oh,
download-
okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
it's not an attendance thing. So you would be able to go on, you would download, you get the audio, you get the video, and you can
Okay.
follow along at your own pace.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Awesome. This was great.
Good. I'm glad. Any other questions?
I have one more question. How would you say this kind of correlates from business back to personal? Would this be something that I come in as, a business participant, but would you say it would be able to correlate back to my personal life as well? Or is it kind of...
Absolutely, because you're going to need, if you ever, especially being a small business owner, sometimes you will need to, if you're a sole proprietor, you'll need to go for funding, right? So some places will make you do a personal financial statement as well as a business financial statement. So the two are the same in the sense of how they're built, what's your income and expenses. the difference just being your personal versus your actual business. And then everything you do as a sole proprietor or single member LLC in your business obviously gets translated to you. So if you're a single member LLC or a sole proprietor, whatever the business is making is essentially what your personal income is. So you should know what that is. So then you know what you're going to be paying on your personal income tax side.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? All right. I think we're in
Thanks,
good shape.
Donna. It was great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you very much,
thank you.
Donna, for all that information. That was awesome. You made accounting fun. I don't know how that's
Yeah,
possible,
right.
but
I know, right? I had an accounting professor once that he started every class that way. Accounting is fun. All right, let's get started.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. And again, if you have more questions, feel free to just send them in email, and we'll make sure they get to Donna.